You're a SaaS founder, you've built something solid, but growth still feels harder than it should. Most SaaS companies don't fail because of bad tech. They fail because they've never become a must-have to the right customer. This podcast is here to change that. I'm Ton Dobbe, and this is the Remarkable SaaS Podcast. Every week I talk to founders in the trenches, facing friction, making bold moves, and building companies that last. We dig into real choices around focus, positioning, customer pool, team alignment, the things that separate forgettable software from the ones that people can't live without. No hype, no hacks. Just honest conversations to help you build something that people would miss if it was gone. If your SaaS should be indispensable but isn't yet, this is your podcast. Let's get into it. The guest on the podcast today is Tal Peretz, co-founder and CEO at Onfire.
AI basically makes sales in general much harder, not easier, because the noise to ratio right now basically go up. And when we started the company, we said the main advantage to use Onfire is to find, as we call it, the needle in the haystack and the base data points in your context. And building this, what we call today as our Onfire knowledge graph, the data moat that we have built, this is probably, the main IP of the company.
This is Tal. We dig into how he rejected the AI playbook everyone follows, and what he did instead to create a moat that makes the company stand out in a very crowded market. You'll hear how interviewing 275 revenue leaders revealed the one pattern that changed everything, and why choosing what others avoid created advantages competitors cannot replicate. The conversation reveals what happens when you question conventional wisdom, and why that approach created results AI tools built the obvious way cannot match. Well, hi Tal. Thank you for making the time available today and being the guest on the podcast.
Hey, Tom, thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
Well, likewise. And I've been looking forward to this call because of a number of things that I've been involved in the past, also with other podcast guests. And the topic itself, to me, is a massively important one. But also a number of your, I would call it point of view statements that I've found online. It's something that I'd like to dig in a little bit deeper into. So hence, inviting you. Before we start talking about your company, you started in April 2023, I see, Onfire. But before we start talking about that, what drives you? What do you get energy from?
Wow, that's a great question, Tom. So what, gets me energized on a daily basis is, first of all, my family, which is the most important things that, that I have today. And second is building Onfire and, taking our product to the market and changing our customers, point of view. Those will be like the top two, in for my end.
Interesting that you say that. First of all, of course, family. Yeah, I mean, kudos to you that you say that as the number one thing, because we all think of it like that, and we always forget to talk about it like that. But what you said at the last point triggers me: changing your customer's point of view. Can you give an example of that?
Yeah, definitely. So I think just to give everyone attention is that we're in the what we call go-to-market technology space. And the go-to-market space has been, pretty crowded, and buyers and customers are, what we felt at the beginning of the company is that they're mainly, heard everything. They get all the quotes from the vendors, and they haven't got, the transformation that they were looking for. And when we started the company, we promised to ourselves that we're going to do it differently. And I think today, this is like what our customers will be using Onfire on a daily basis, basically achieve, with the product that we built. And this is why I'm, so eager to do it on a daily basis.
Love that. You already kind of highlight one of the traits in my book, aim to be different, not just better. But to zoom into that, what I hear is, okay, it's about the outcomes. What I also hear is that there is something that the industry believes that you believe is wrong.
I think so. Yeah. When we started the company, me and my two co-founders, Litan and Shahar, we basically, been talking with revenue leaders, trying to understand, what is not working for them. Before we, jumping into code writing and starting building a product, we want to understand like that we are building something that is going to worth a lot and going to change the perspective. And then what we heard from the customers is that the existing tool are good, but they're not giving them the edge that they need. And for our instance is that we focused straight from the beginning on a specific vertical in the market, the vertical that selling to technical buyers. Imagine those companies, that sells to CTOs, CIOs, CISOs, which probably, as we all know, and I've been a CTO myself in my previous companies, is they're probably the toughest buyer out there. You know, they have resistance to salespeople in general. They always prefer to explore and working with the technology first. And the sellers, on the other hand, have one of the toughest challenges out there. And when we look at that point of view and what the existing tools bring to the table, we understand there is a huge opportunity here that we can build something that is different and providing a much better value for the specific vertical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, there's so many tools out there on the market, and they typically offer you something that is maybe like on the edge of it's hyped. It's the first example. Now you have AI.
Yeah.
And just giving someone AI doesn't mean that you're going to get the results that you want. And especially what you were saying, it doesn't give you the edge, because at the end, it is for everybody to buy technology. It needs to give you something that makes you better in an area where you can win.
Yeah.
So interesting. I mean, a couple of things I want to zoom into: the verticalization, the tech buyers. Let's zoom into that first. I mean, the vertical part, because
Yeah.
you build a solution and it's about targeting, it's about go to market, finding the right type of buyers. And with AI, you could technically say everyone that needs to find buyers, I mean, can use it. So why did you go specifically for the hardest people to convince?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think it all started, with how we believe you should go to market your product. And when you're looking into the specific vertical of the technical buyers, those people are not in the same places where the other audience is. Imagine like those CTOs and CIOs and CISOs, they're inside communities like Reddit, for example, or Stack Overflow, or Slack, Discord, some like can be a niche communities that the majority of people are not on them. And this is where we found there is, an opportunity. What if we will know what the 50 million engineers are doing on a daily basis based on their public footprint, and bring it as insights to the buyers, to the sellers, sorry.
Yeah.
And we touched on it in the beginning, but on our background when we started the company, this is basically the type of components and technologies we built for the last decade. How you can take this massive data points that at first glance are not looking into even to be connected at all, and transform them into specific insight. And so once we understood, those like two parts, one, that the audience is acting differently, and we have the power to take our technology to the space, this is where we actually started, building the company and building the product. And today, which is like almost 3 years afterwards, we see the results, at our customers' hands. Yeah.
What are the results have they started to see before and after?
Yeah. So just for everyone to understand, we help company basically drive more pipeline. That's the main goal here. And imagine like a company before Onfire and after. The after will look something like 4x of the of the new pipeline that got generated with the same headcount. So right now you can do more pipeline that will result into more, bottom line revenue at the end. Um, and across the entire life cycle of your pipeline, you can see the results jumping in.
Is it just about more or is it also about better? Because I mean, I
Yeah,
can see that. I mean, the moment you get more pipeline doesn't mean that you're going to convert more, but the moment the pipeline is actually more, but the quality of this pipeline is also far better than it was before, and typically you have got a 10x impact.
so yeah, that's correct, John. I think it's the combination between the quality and the volume. And once you find the right buyers at the right time, and your reps can understand the full context that they have in, and you also, because as we started, this is something that none of your competitors maybe are doing great now, so it's different. It's giving you the edge and the ability to also generate more, but also getting it more quality to close more revenue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's always fascinating to me. First of all, we touched upon a couple of things here already on what I also describe in my book. The first part was okay. We wanted to do things different, not better, and I think we highlighted that what you're doing different here, typically by going for the verticalization and not trying to be everything to everybody, zooming into yeah, but you also used the word a couple of times, context. Um, because context at the end is what drives everything. But maybe you got a good story on that. Why is context
Yeah,
in this case something that's so important
yeah.
to your business?
Yeah, so I think that I have a pretty good story about that. I think like one of our first customers to date, they'll be using, one of the leading vendors that provide them the option to know which technology, their potential clients are using. And for that essence, it's like one of the most important things to know before you reach out to a customer to understand if it's qualified, if there is a good fit, and all of that. But then what's happened is that technology can be pretty broad, statement. And this technology vendor, they care about your security stack. What are you using for cloud security or endpoint security? But then they got, some technologies from the specific vendor around like, hey, they're using Salesforce.
Yeah.
Hey, they're using HubSpot. And this is like, this is like generic technologies that they might be using, but
Hmm.
this is out of context. And
Exactly.
and what means when you don't have the context is it means that first of all, you might be missing, potential revenue. Second is that your rep will drive more time to do the research and understand what is actually happening in the account. And when we onboarded them into Onfire, and on the same account, they look into and they found that, okay, they use cloud security in this vendor. And for endpoint security, they use this vendor because this is what drives, the revenue for them, what is matters. The entire organization can become laser focused on the goal.
Yeah, true.
And this is, where I said like we have a we have a term in the company that context is the king right now. Because with this AI era, you basically have so many data points, so many options, but you need to understand that they're relevant to your need right now. And this is why we basically looking into what we are building and Onfire. And I think, and this is like for my customers, words, this is like the secret weapon what they're bringing in.
Exactly. Yeah. Brings the whole thing back to your history in military. Secret weapon. No, but you got a good point, and I mean, I've been writing about context and the importance of context for so long, and it's good you're applying this in real life. What I also realized from this is that where you could have chosen sort of the easy route to market, and of course get something of this hype that is currently building up, you actually went down. And first of all, you said I interviewed 275 revenue leaders before writing anything. But the other thing is also that you decided to build the hard things first. So what has been the toughest or the hardest nut to crack to get this going and to get people to say, "Whoa, this is different"?
Yeah, I think like, we started the company in a good timing where AI basically started booming. Yeah.
Yeah,
And ChatGPT just get out into, customers' hands, and everyone was so amazed by the power that you can deliver right now. But what's happened in the same time is, and this is, my thesis, and happy to get your perspective, is AI basically makes sales in general much harder, not easier, because the noise to ratio right now basically go up. And when we started the company, we said the main advantage to use Onfire is to find, as we call it, the needle in the haystack and the base data points in your context. And building this, what we call today as our Onfire knowledge graph, the data moat that we have built, this is probably, the main IP of the company. And it took us a lot of months to, bring into the quality levels and the volumes that we want it to be. But
yeah,
once we have that in place and you layer on top of that the AI workflows, this is where the true magic started.
yeah.
Because now your AI is not generic, it's within your context with the right data.
Let me make a small interruption here. Tal just made a remark that sets his approach apart from the hundreds of AI sales tools flooding the market right now. He explained that while everyone raced to add features to their products when ChatGPT was launched, he took the opposite approach. He spent months building what he calls the Onfire knowledge graph. Most software companies bolt AI onto weak data and wonder why it doesn't work. Tal, however, built the foundation first. And this is what remarkable SaaS companies do. They master the art of curiosity, they aim to be different, not just better, and then focus on the essence. Want to master these traits as well? Simply read my book. I've made the electronic version available for free. Just visit theremarkableeffect.com to grab your copy, and inspiration will spark within 10 minutes. Back to the interview. Exactly. So you started with the data first rather than anything else.
Yeah.
Then the next dilemma comes, of course, when you have no customers, there's no data. How did you solve that particular problem to get to this first high quality data pool that you then started building your AI tools on top of?
Yeah, so in our case, the main data points coming from the public web. So we had an advantage that we didn't need any, customers' data, and we can start it by looking into the publicly available data out there and build the data, the knowledge graph from those data points. And then once we, had something to show to customers, it was pretty compelling starting from the beginning.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Talking about that point that you just made about AI makes sales harder because everybody has AI in their hands and everybody can now start to do things at scale. And that's a word combination that I hate because why do things at scale? You don't have to do it at scale. At the end, for a lot of companies, they don't need 1,000 new customers, they need 20 new customers. Or like you say, finding the needle in the haystack. So knowing that there's, and you already mentioned it, the go-to-market technology area, and I mean, you can then divide it into marketing, into sales, into all the kind of angles there. It's pretty busy. So how have you solved, not if you have solved it yet, to stand out yourself?
That's a good question. Yeah. And I think it all comes back to, as we decided to go vertical, that can give you the specific edge. And let me tell you a story around like something that we've done to, to get above the noise. So at first, and this like was one of our first conferences, we've been going into a conference that's called AWS reInvent in Las Vegas, which is pretty big. There is, like 500 vendors, 70,000 people. And at first, it was just me and my two co-founders. And what we've done is, because we are vertical focused, we
Hmm.
can go out without any need to buy a booth.
No, true.
We can go out and sell our idea to the revenue leaders that, standing in the booth. And as we all know, conferences and AWS is like 4 days long. So at the first day, this is like the peak. Everyone, trying to book the meetings, trying to take the leads, working pretty hard. But as the conference goes in progress, basically their attention is becoming something like this, declining.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where you can go out to a specific, booth and say, "Hey, Ton, I'm Tal. We're building something in the specific space and want to get your feedback. Do you mind to see, 30 seconds demo?" And he's probably bored in the conference, and this is the moment that we are jumping up right now with iPads, showing them like super tailored demo for their specific needs, and we've been working pretty hard on that. And from this 3 days of conference, we basically walked out with almost 200 meetings out of it. And those are like, once you're looking into the specific vertical and
Mhm.
you can be focused on it, I think you can do pretty amazing, stuff to jump above the noise without a big budget. Yeah, I can tell you this was pretty low cock, in terms of like what we've done in the conference. And from that moment, I think we already have done almost 100 conferences in total, in the last three years.
Yeah.
Um, so those are, kind of like the lessons that we started from the beginning in terms of jumping above the noise.
Very smart. And
Mhm.
yeah, that always works, It's meeting the right people at the right moment, especially when it's like end of the conference where they need more leads, and now you can give them a tool that after the conference they can actually be far more effective than they could possibly be at that conference, which is yeah, it's an ideal thing at the end. Um, yeah, I mean the whole thing around the demo. So you said we work quite hard to get that right. What have you figured out that has been effective, yeah, very effective for you in terms of how to show the product, how to showcase the product?
Yeah. So I think at the beginning, we've done the classic mistakes of technical founders, as first time. We
Hmm.
have been raving on our features and unique capabilities and all that. And honestly, people don't care about it. And I know, like, one of my mentors, when I told him, "Hey, I think something's not working with my, demos. Can you take a look on them?" And
Because I
and
know who
then
that is.
yeah, and then he told me, "Yeah, I'll be happy to do that, Tal, but can you share with me first of all the discovery call?" And I was like, "What is a discovery call?" I thought that we have a meeting and I should do a demo because he wanted to see the product. And then what's happened is that we enter into like understanding how let's say a real B2B sales process should look like.
Exactly.
And once we started, do a much proper discovery, uncovering the pains, understand the true value that they're looking to get. This is the phase where we can, shift the demo from a feature dump to a more value oriented, and to be sure that we're touching pretty small stuff of the product, but we can explain how it's going to change and do the transformation
Hmm.
that, from the pains they showed with us to the actual transformation with the product. Um, and this is basically, change completely like our conversion rates and, of course, also our deal sizes, where you're, not just a tool in the stack, but you are a true partner that
Yeah.
change their, KPIs into a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So glad you bring up this conversation, and I think I know who you would be talking to, or maybe he has actually been on my podcast. Is it Joaf?
Yeah,
It's Joaf,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, just for everybody to, I think 2 years back, 3 years back, I had the CEO of a company called Walnut on my podcast, Joaf Wilner,
Yeah,
and
Winner. Yeah.
he is a master when it comes to the demo and the art of demo. Well, I mean, if you look for, if you just search for proof of value, I mean, I've been writing about this so often because I mean, I hate that word demo because it puts you in a completely wrong perspective or context because you're starting to show the product as if it's a training and they haven't even
Yeah.
bought yet. But
Yeah.
proof of value is about understanding what value they want and how you get to that value in the shortest possible time. That can be 30 seconds. That is what a demo really needs to be all about. And for that, you need to do a proper discovery. And the most important thing around that, and the thing that actually failed, is that people think they hear a problem, but it's not the problem at all. And you have to start digging and digging and digging. Yeah, fun. But good to bring it up because there's so much energy wasted there and potential deals wasted there. And if people just get to that aha moment of how to showcase their product, there's so much more to come. Um, Brings me to another thing. So you've done now you're doing your discovery right. You're showing the product in the right way. Then they buy. And what you told me just before the call is, I mean, talking about the 10 traits that resonate you from my book, The Remarkable Effect. One of them is fans. Create fans, not customers. I think
Yeah.
it has to do to a great extent also to that the context that you focused, that you choose to focus on, the vertical side of it. But what do you do specifically to create fans, not just customers?
Yeah, I think Tom, that's a great, trait that I really like. So what we, looking into the company, we have a what we call a goal that's called customer love. And we call it love because it's not just around like, the customer will gain value out of your product. We are looking into those moments where we know that Onfire can become part of their day to day. Like, I've been using Zoom quite a bit, on a daily basis. I really enjoy the product. It's really good. I love it. And I use it on a daily basis and I will recommend to my friends and colleagues.
Yeah.
So we basically breaking down to how you can create fans into three main pillars.
Okay.
One, we want to make sure we build the best products that can be used and configured on a daily basis. If your product is not used on a daily basis, it's pretty hard to bring, those customers to be your fans. That's one. Second, we make sure that we can share the value with the customer. Sometimes the customers need help to understand and realize the entire value, not just the outcome, that's easy, but the time that's been saved, the efficiency gains, the ramp up time, everything that plays. And the last pillar is we want to be unique and, to take a different approach. And let me give you like a short story. Is like when we've been going out of stealth and announcing our financing round, we basically took approach that we took our, let's say, the top customers that we have back then. And on
Mhm.
each customers, we took our biggest champion in the company. And then we created a dedicated video from a celebrity that he likes, that's saying something like, that is super personal, for your family or your specific hobbies, because we truly knows you. And then just before the finance round got announced, we basically asked them, hey, we made you this small present. This is, it's going to be this comedian or this movie star or whatever, that we reach out to them with our connections. And they basically took a video for you to tell you how we, thankful for your partnership with us. And, the comments that we got from that, it's like, I think, if someone does it to me, you basically want me for life. And they, of course, they was super thankful and they shared it online and they brought new customers to Onfire. And while you figure those three pillars, once it's the product, second, the value, and third, to be unique, I think this is where you can actually create the fans and not just customers.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said. I mean, your pillars are a little bit different from the ones that I defined, but I mean they align on many fronts. But I mean, goosebumps from your example, and that's exactly what it needs to be about, which is actually trait number 10 in my book. Remarkable software companies surprise and hit the right nerve. Well, you've done that one. My God, it's yeah. No, but it starts. I mean, the three pillars that I point out in my book to come to the fans is acknowledge that you cannot please everyone, which is what you've done. It's the verticalization. It's saying no to a lot of people and say yes to the right type of people, and offer something valuable and desirable, which is where the love comes in. It's what makes them want to use it, and then aim to be different, not just better. It's the other one that you already highlighted there. One thing that's stuck to me, because I've seen in my preparation that you say a big no to product-led growth. Is that correct? Because I mean,
uh,
one thing, the reason why I'm asking, because if you made your product so simple to use and so easy to love and made people come back every day and want to use it, the question at the end is a lot of people think, okay, then I can sell it. It will sell
yeah,
by itself. Pick a credit card and you go. You
yeah.
decided to say no, 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 no.
So I tell you what, I think like it's not that I'm against product-led growth in general. I just think that for us and for like B2B companies, and you can see the best in class companies that started as a PLG company and then transitioned into sales-led companies, the ability to bring a big amount of revenue from the PLG motion can be pretty tough and it's quite expensive. People thinking about like my product will be so great, I won't need to invest in sales and marketing. So that's not the case here, guys.
Yeah.
So what we do believe in is that if your product is so good, you can bring them in as, maybe a free trial or acting on it like, well, let's say a lead generation channel,
Hmm. True.
and then jumping in with the enterprise sales function on the best accounts, the ones that you choose to work on, the ones that are within your ICP.
Yeah.
And this is, my advice to founders because it looks so dreamy to build this like product like Go funnel, credit card. And in fact, it's super hard. And I can come up with, let's say, five companies that done it right. And at the end, they also added, the sales led on
Yeah.
top of it. So not saying I'm against, but my recommendation is to look at that phase of like as a lead generation into your sales funnel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, funny enough, I've got a little community of CEOs that reach out to each other around particular problems that they're trying to solve. And yesterday we had a conversation on that in a mastermind, and I actually wrote about it this morning in my daily email. Um, that they were struggling with, okay, users love our products, but the buyers don't care, and therefore they don't
Mm-hmm.
buy. And I think
Mm-hmm.
what you've done is you solve both. You've done the work on, okay, the users love it, but you also make very, very clear what is that value that we are creating, so that when they go to the buyer and try to sell it in, the buyer will say, no brainer, go. So it's, even if it's on a corporate level, enterprise level, that
Yeah.
is a critical thing to do. One of the things that I've been impressed with, for example, with companies that do product-led growth, and one of the tools that I'm using, for example, Superhuman, the email tool, and actually, funny enough, maybe they've actually stopped it, but they started sending me emails every month in terms of how good I was doing compared to others, which is also a way of explaining you're getting a lot of value from this product,
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Do you do something like that on the technology side, that you remind people on a month-to-month basis, maybe in the dashboards, the before and after type thing?
Yeah, definitely. So we do it on a monthly basis we have one for the manager level, let's say, and the second one for the specific rep to see and get the value out of it.
Okay.
I think like there is one tweet from the book that pretty resonating to me as a CEO, and I think like it's sell the idea, not the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we're now bringing it in. We're in market almost 3 years, and I have some I can see like where we are going to in 2026 and what is the true potential of Onfire. And I think like the product is great, but people, and when I say people, it's not just my customers, it's in future investors, it's future employees, and of course it's customers. They really they care about the product, but this is not the main thing. And they come, you mentioned idea, but let me maybe add my 2 cents on it, which is vision.
Yeah.
And let's imagine what will be the flow 5 years from now,
Yeah.
and then go backwards. And I think this is like, something that's starting from the beginning, we try to do at a company. And I think this is what brought like the best investors. This is what brought, the best funding team that we built in Tel Aviv and in the US. And from that moment, also the best customers, because at the beginning, your product's gonna be pretty, not at its best, yeah, as we all agree. But they will come for the vision, and you as a founder and as a CEO, and this, this is for any CEOs that's listening, is like this is your mastery.
Yeah.
Building this vision, setting the idea, and then make sure that you're going to build it, that's 100%. But people are connecting to the vision, not the product.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the idea at the end. It's transformative. The transformation they will achieve at the very, very end, or at the very when they start using your product. It doesn't have to be at the end. What is it? I mean, looking at the time as well, but like one last question on this, and I got so many other questions. So that's for another podcast. What have you learned building that vision? Because I also realized that once you start building that vision, it won't be right from the first day. What was the point where people started to click in and say, "Yeah, I want to be part of that"?
So I think it took us a lot of time, but I think like once we nail down like, and this is way of saying like, let's talk about the next 5 years and not the next year. Something that they can, they can dream it, but they're not seeing it right closely. I think once we started to do this shift, this is basically where it's started to click. And I think like, my biggest advice is to any like startup or any company right now is take this exercise that on the end of each quarter, imagine how your company should be built for the next 5 years. And I tell you, on any quarter and Onfire, this vision, expanded and changed. And now I think we're in a position that we know where we are going to. We're know where it could be in 5 years. But Ton, when you and I will meet for the next, podcast, it's gonna be even bigger.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents and my biggest tip to founders.
Exactly. What have you been focusing on where it comes to the who you talk to and what you talk about? Is it about your company that you put in front and center, or is it your customer that you put front and center?
Wow, that's a great question. I think from our end is, first of all, the vision. Second is the customer. This is the why we are building the company. And then the company.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's great. For me, the best definition, or the best visions at the end are the ones that you want to be part of, no matter whether you help building it, yes or no. And that counts for the customer that wants to be part of that vision.
Yep.
The employees, investors, everybody. And so many companies make this big mistake that they write a vision and it's all about them. We want to be the leader in this particular space by 2029.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
2030. And no one cares about that. The big one is, okay, so how are you going to get there? And what is that thing that we need to connect to say, yes, I want to be part of that? And that is, I think, that's that outcome, that idea that needs to do the job. I think you already highlighted my last question, which is what would be a do and potentially also a don't that you'd like to share with other founders that aspire a similar type of success that you have experienced so far. You've already highlighted the do, but maybe a don't?
I think one big don't is at the beginning, you need to say no to customers or potential customers, and you need to choose wisely the best fit. I can tell you that we had a couple of customers in the beginning, so they wanted to pay us money, and I was like, "Wow, it's so amazing!" But at the end, we as a company, it was a wrong decision because you started to build some dedicated features for those companies, and the support was pretty aggressive. And once you choose the right companies to work on and you focus on those, you will see that it's going to transform your entire company.
Yeah.
It's going to be much better in terms of the sales, the product market fit. Your product will be involved in the right position, and your team will be much happier.
Yeah.
So that's my don't.
Yeah, trait number one in my book. That's why it's exactly the reason why I started with that trait. Acknowledge you cannot please everyone. And the moment you do that,
Yeah.
it is such a transformative effect. Well, thank you so much for sharing the wisdom, Tal.
Thank you so
and we're
much,
going to
Sam.
plan something in the next 5 years to see how it all went. So where can people go to find out more about your company?
Yes.
What to say hi to you?
So first of all, you should go to our website. It's onfire.ai. Feel free to see the website. Feel free to see a demo. And you can reach me out on LinkedIn, Tal Peretz. Be happy to answer to any questions, any advice, ideas. And thank you very much for the time, Tony. It was really a pleasure.
Same on my end. Thank you. And this wraps up my conversation with Tal Peretz, co-founder and CEO at Onfire. If you got value from this episode, please share it with other SaaS founders who need to hear this as well. And if you got 10 seconds, a quick rating or review on Apple Podcasts will help more people to find these conversations. Thank you for listening to the Remarkable SaaS podcast. If you want more insights like this, subscribe to my daily email, Espresso with Ton. It's a 2-minute shot of clarity for SaaS founders who want to create pull, not push. You can sign up, along with getting my book, at valueinspiration.com. See you in the next episode.